Hey, welcome back. We're in the middle of a series here. This is the psychology of being a singer. And this one is, where do I start? Okay, this is a common problem of like, where do I start? What is it that I do? It can be overwhelming. There's all this stuff on the internet. Like I do these searches, I could do Google searches, and of course, my product, I've got Superior Singing Method main course and all these other courses and Vocal Coaching Club, and I've got a lot of great resources. And actually, the link below, there's more resources there. That actually might be a good place to start. But I'm not trying to sell you any of that, but just kind of get a concept across here. There's so much info overload these days that it can become just a little paralysis by analysis. The idea of just like trying to analyze everything, what to do and what's going on, and then it's just paralyzed. It's just kind of get into a stuck place. So where do I start? What do I do to start? And here's the main thing that I want to talk about today, and that's the idea of making short-term process goals that you can complete and feel good about. Okay, a very short-term process goal that you complete and feel good about. Here's part of the problem: the overwhelm thing. First of all, as just a little side note, talking about the overwhelmed, there's no such thing as overwhelmed. Okay, again, bear with me here. But to feel overwhelmed it's not circumstances that are making us feel overwhelmed. Okay, so track with me for a second here. When we feel overwhelmed, we feel overwhelmed because of an interpretation that we're making of a circumstance and a thought believed about the circumstance or about ourselves. Okay, so let me give you an example. Sometimes, like when I'm starting to feel the emotion of overwhelmed, because again, we're in the emotion of our thoughts, not the emotion of our circumstances all the time. We think it's our circumstances. I feel this way because my mom is this, or my dad's this, or things aren't working out the way I want. We think that those emotions are coming from circumstances, but they're coming from a thought believed, an interpretation that we have, and believing that thought is what's actually giving us the feelings. Okay, so back to the overwhelmed. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, so let's say just today, for example. So I was doing some things with my business partners and I knew I was going to film this today, but I also have, I've got an acting class and I've got this thing that I'm supposed to memorize. And I started getting in the mindset of like, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I have so much to do. And that, first of all, that wasn't a true thought. I didn't have so much to do. It was really just this thought, and the thought was this. The thought wasn't, oh, I have so much to do, because really I only have one thing to ever do. The only thing I need to do right this second is talk to you. There's only now. And so when we get too much future, that's when things start getting a little crazy. When we think about what's going on in the future, that's where all the fear comes in. Talk more about that in a second, but let's stick with overwhelmed and with my day. So my thought about my thing that I was supposed to memorize today, it wasn't that I have so much to do that I'm overwhelmed. I really didn't. I only have one thing to do, and then one thing, and then one thing, and then one thing. That's all we ever have to do is just the thing in front of us. But the thought was actually, I don't think I'm going to be able to memorize this in that amount of time, and therefore I think I'm going to look stupid in front of the people in my class. Okay, so but I wasn't thinking about that. I was just overwhelmed. But when I really break it down and think about it, it's a thought belief that if I don't take enough time to do this, or maybe I don't have what it takes to memorize in order to make that happen. Okay, so see if you're tracking with me here. The idea is that when we get too much future and we try to think of all these things that are happening, we're trying to juggle all these things in our life, if we can just bring it back to what's really going on and what is really giving me that feeling of being overwhelmed, it's usually just one or two small things. And so here's my encouragement to you, back to what I said before, short-term process goals that you can complete and feel good about. And I mean very short. Here's my encouragement to you. Think about, in an earlier video I asked you, what is something that you can do right now to get the future that you want in the present? So again, I don't want you to live in the future and worry about the future and stress about the future. Just right now, because I want you to create your future now. I don't want you to create your future in your future. I just want you to create it right now. So right now, what is a short-term process goal that you can do and feel good about? I'm talking literally 3 minutes. What's something you can do for 3 minutes? That's all I'm asking of you. Just 3 minutes that you could feel good about right now. And these 3 minutes, like when I do this, here's the trick with the 3-minute thing. Just go ahead and do it 3 minutes. You feel fear around it and scared and like, I don't think it's going to be good and all this stuff. never mind all that, just get into action about it and start doing just those 3 minutes. What usually happens in those 3 minutes for me is that once I get past those 3 minutes, the thing doesn't seem as big and scary to me anymore. It starts being like, oh, this is much more manageable than I thought, and actually I kind of enjoy this once I start getting into action. But if I can trick myself into just getting those 3 minutes, then I'm usually fine. Because here's what the mind does. There's just like a psychological thing that the mind automatically does. Our minds live in a survival mode a lot, and so anytime our mind pictures something in the future, anytime, this is for all of us, it makes it bigger and scarier than it actually is. That's just what the mind does. It's a survival tactic of like, oh, worst case scenario, let's see if I can handle that. The mind just automatically does that. And the way that we can say, nope, I'm not going to give in to all that, oh, big and scary future garbage. I'm just going to get into action and just for 3 minutes. And even if you just do it 3 minutes, I think that's fine. Oftentimes you'll do it more because it won't seem as big and scary. So again, what is that one thing that you can do now? Just for 3 minutes. And the idea of a short-term goal that you can feel good about is that success is, as I said in an earlier video, it's progressively realizing a worthy ideal, okay? Eventually, yeah, oh, success is $1 million and fame and all that, whatever, maybe, but really today, that's just future. Let the future come, but build your future today. Build your future now, in the next 3 minutes, and don't hold your happiness captive until you reach a major goal. That's why I just want these little tiny process goals and feel good, something you can feel good about and be like, I accomplished that, and I accomplished that, and I accomplished that. It's just little things. And so the last thing is John Wooden. You may have heard of John Wooden. He was a basketball coach for college basketball. He won the most championships of anybody, and he was just a brilliant leader. And he says, and this is such, if you could just focus, if you like zoning out or thinking about what that 3 minute thing is, just come in for one more second here, because this concept, it could radically change your life, just this idea. So what he says is that doing something, a little something every single day, and not thinking about, oh, I have to take this massive step today. Oh, I'm not going to do it unless I could take this giant step. Don't worry about that. A little bit each day, eventually big things occur. Does that make sense? If you just do a little thing today and do a little thing tomorrow and a little thing the next day, fast forward some time, eventually you look back and you'd be like, oh, I reached that major goal that I wanted. So just little tiny successes each day eventually lead to really big, massive successes in your life. So that's all I'm asking. Just one little thing. What can you do for 3 minutes? Short process goals. Don't keep your happiness captive until you reach your giant goal. Be happy about the little goals that you reach today, and eventually that future that you want is going to be here sooner than you think. Okay, so that's it for this lesson here. I just want to end again with believe in your bigness. There's more in you than you realize. Okay, take that to heart. So before you click off really quick, click the link right here for more information and more like stuff that's like exercises and techniques and all that stuff. It's a good 15-minute video that I put together for you. And then also subscribe, because I'm doing a whole series here, so you know when the next video comes, if you haven't had a chance to do that. And leave a comment below, not just so I have more comments, but because I'm writing a book and I really want you to be a part of it. So I want to know what you think about this content. You're not going to hurt my feelings. If you think it's garbage, let me know, but let me know why. And I'll just be like, it sucks. You know what I mean? Just whatever. Tell me, oh, I didn't agree with this, or I didn't want that. That's super helpful for me. Or here's what I did like, and I would like to know more about this. Whatever it is, I want you to help me to help you. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know what it is that will serve you the most, because that's what I want to do. I want to serve you. I want to write this book that will serve you the most and help you to become the best singer and the best human being and the most successful person that you possibly can. That's what I want for you. So help me to help you, and leave me a comment. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next episode.